Will it felt? Let's find out. Welcome to the Crafty Seas. Today we're going to see if we can turn this raw sheep's fleece clippings that we gathered at the Royal Highland Show into some sort of fabric, felt, not really sure, we've never done this before. So as you can see here, this is the sheep that kindly donated the wool for this crafting project. And we've decided to try our hand at wet felting. Now, total disclaimer, we have never done this before and are in no way experts at doing it, but I'll share the process that we followed, and hopefully if you ever have any raw wool lying about or proper roving and felting materials, you might want to give this a go. So you'll need some bubble wrap, a rolling pin, some towels, olive oil soap, natural olive oil soap, and some lukewarm water, and of course your wool material that you'll be felting. And what we did is we grated some of the natural soap into the warm water to create a gloopy, soapy solution that you're going to saturate your wool in. And it'll feel kind of sticky and gluey to the hand. And next, what you're going to do is layer out your wool. Here I've kind of tried to separate it into the different colours of wool. And you're going to lay sections horizontally to your desired size, and then over the top you're going to go the opposite way, so vertically with your strands. And this will be easier if you're using proper roving or felting material. Obviously this wool isn't carded and all the hair is going in different directions, but we still tried to line it up as best we could, going in one direction and then the opposite direction. And it's worth noting, when you're wet felting, the overall size of your project will shrink down in the process, so bear that in mind when you're laying out your fibres. Here we were limited to the wool that we had collected at the show. And once you've got that all layered up, you're going to saturate it fully with your soapy solution. Once you've got your wool really nice and wet and sopping with the soapy solution, we're going to begin trying to knit those fibres together to form a piece of felt. So we're just gently rubbing over the surface of the fibres, massaging in and agitating the soap and fibres together. And you can also put the other piece of bubble wrap bubble side down over the top of your wool, and if you add a little bit of soapy solution on top, it just makes it easier for your hands to glide. And you want to do this process for a little while until your fibres start to knit together, and as you can see, they've kind of formed and you can lift it from your sheet. And once you've achieved this, we're going to move on to the second phase, which you will need your rolling pin, and with your wool sandwiched between the two sheets of bubble wrap, you're going to gently roll backwards and forwards 100 times in each direction. Yep, you heard me, 100 times. So you're going to go this way and then turn your whole project a quarter and repeat that rolling process. And you don't want to be too firm at this stage, just a nice gentle backwards and forwards rolling motion. And again, turn your project, roll, 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 at least 100 times. And then turn again and do your last lot of rolling. And at this point, your fibres should be starting to knit together, and you can do a pinch test to make sure that the fibres aren't coming apart and the piece of felt is holding together, as you can see here. And now we're going to move on to step 3, where we are going to continue getting those fibres agitated and hopefully forming together for felt. And to do this, you just gently hand roll and scrunch and throw onto your towel. So a combination of these two techniques, hand rolling and throwing, and this will be the final stage of those fibres knitting together. And just keep doing this, and you'll see at this point your project will continue to shrink, but that's okay. And if you want nice edges, you can just gently roll smaller rolls, focusing on the edge of your piece of work. And just continue doing this process until all your fibres are well knitted together and your felt doesn't pull apart when you pull on the edges, and it's nicely formed. So this is what we have managed to make from the raw wool you saw at the start of the video. And if you'd like to see more of the sheep that we got the wool from, check out our visit to the Royal Scottish Agricultural Show, the Royal Highland Show. I'll leave a link to that video down below. And we were really pleased with the outcome. As I said, it's our first time ever trying to do this. It was a really enjoyable process and thoroughly enjoyed trying felting, and it's something that I will do again in the future. The piece of felt turned out surprisingly well. It's definitely now fully formed and you can consider it a piece of fabric, and it's very interesting to see the different tones of all the wool and the different textures. What will I make with this next? I'm not sure. There'll be a crafty project in store for this piece of DIY felt, that's for sure. So stay tuned, and until next time, happy crafting.